The basement was supposed to be safe, but safety ended the moment the dead reached through the door. Buck, Santana, Kim, Wade, Toya, and Tyson, the loyal pit bull, must navigate abandoned streets where the dead roam free. Will they survive the night or become just another story in the city's chaos? The night glittered with spotlights and fake applause, the kind of evening where internet fame dressed itself in bow ties and sequins. The streamer awards had always been more spectacle than substance, but tonight the spectacle felt larger than life. A sea of influencers filled the hall, every one of them more concerned with views and followers than with the trophies lined up on stage. Buck tugged at his collar, visibly uncomfortable. He'd built his channel on survival streams in the wilderness, not sitting under chandeliers surrounded by people who screamed into headsets for a living. Beside him, his pit bull Tyson sat calmly, though his ears flicked at every cheer and burst of laughter. Buck scratched behind the dog's ear. At least you don't have to wear a suit. His younger brother Santana slouched in the seat beside him. Unlike Buck, Santana thrived on spectacle. His streams mixed over the top gaming marathons with fiery rants, his charm pulling Toya in almost as much as his audience numbers did. Toya sat on his other side, a perfect match for the glitzy atmosphere. She radiated confidence, laughing at every inside joke from the stage, as if she belonged there more than anyone. 2 rows back, Wade and Kim whispered furiously during the opening monologue. The duo had grown famous for their chaotic commentary, one balancing the other, and their chemistry was as unmistakable as ever. Wade leaned over with a grin. Kim, if I win, I'm thanking my mom, my editor, and DoorDash in that order. Kim rolled her eyes. If you win, you'll thank me first. I'm the reason you have transitions that don't look like a PowerPoint. Their laughter fit the energy of the night. Shallow, glittery, self-absorbed. None of them noticed the first crack forming at the edges. It began with a cameraman. He stumbled, clutching his headset, his face pale. At first, the audience assumed it was part of the show. The hosts kept talking, the jokes kept rolling, until the man collapsed at the edge of the stage. A hush swept through the hall. Phones lifted instantly, hundreds of creators aiming for viral footage. Content, someone whispered. Get closer, film it. But then the man twitched. His body jumped like a marionette yanked on tangled strings. His jaw snapped open with a sound that made the microphone screech. And before anyone could react, he lunged, sinking his teeth into the arm of the stagehand, who tried to help. The scream cut the air in half. Buck shot to his feet, Santana right after him. Toya gasped, clinging to her boyfriend's arm. Tyson snarled, muscles taut, eyes locked on the scene. That's not fainting, Kim whispered, her voice trembling. Bodies moved the same way. An usher dropped his flashlight, his eyes glassy and wrong, then bit to the nearest guest's shoulder. A woman in heels shrieked, stumbling into another set of teeth waiting for her. The infection spread in seconds, transforming the glamorous award show into something monstrous. Back exit. Buck snapped. His survival instincts kicked in faster than the cameras could. He pulled Tyson's leash tight and shoved Santana forward. Wade cursed under his breath, dragging Kim along. If this is a prank, it's the worst one in internet history. No prank, Kim shot back. Move. Chairs toppled. Guests tripped over gowns and camera cords. The lights blazed down on chaos, every streamer screaming louder than their microphones ever had. Tyson lunged at a figure staggering too close, teeth sinking deep before Buck yanked him back. The pit bull's growl echoed like thunder. Toya clutched Santana's sleeve. Don't let go of me, please don't. I got you, Santana promised, though his voice cracked as he shoved through the stampede. They burst into a side corridor, leaving the glittering gore behind. The heavy door slammed shut behind them, muting the sound of screams. Their breaths came fast and ragged. Buck leaned against a wall, face pale, eyes burning. Zombies, he muttered. The word felt heavy and unreal, but it fit. For the first time all night, no one had a joke, no one had a quip. Tyson went low, ears pinned flat. The dog seemed to understand what none of them wanted to say. The awards were over. The streamers were no longer performers. Now they were prey. No more stage lights. The corridor smelled like dust and disinfectant, a sharp contrast to the carnage left behind in the ballroom. The group's footsteps echoed uneven and panicked, while Tyson's claws clicked against the floor. Every one of them knew they couldn't stop moving, but none of them knew where they were going. Buck took point, scanning each turn with a hunter's focus. He was built for wilderness and storms, not velvet curtains and panic mobs. Yet his instincts were the only compass the others trusted. Behind him, Santana half-dragged Toya, whose heels had already betrayed her once. Slow down, Toya hissed, wincing as she stumbled. You're ripping my arm off. Then take off the damn shoes. Santana snapped back. His voice was sharp, more out of fear than anger. Both of you quiet, Buck ordered. Noise carries. Kim pressed a hand to her temple. Noise carries Buck. Half the theater is getting chewed on right now. I don't think we're sneaking out of this. She's right, Wade muttered. His jokes had thinned into something brittle. We need a plan, not just strutting like extras in a horror flick. Tyson growled, low and steady. Buck crouched and rubbed the pit bull's neck. He hears something. The hallway ahead forked into two staircases. One led up toward glowing exit signs, the other dipped into shadow. Buck hesitated, weighing instinct against logic. We go up, Kim said quickly. Exits are always up. Yeah, into the streets, where everyone's probably already screaming and bleeding. Wade shot back. That's smart, Dot. Great idea. Santana yanked Toya closer to him. Basement it is. Then, shelter, supplies, less traffic. Buck raised a hand. Enough, we can't split. Up or down we vote. The silence stretched. Tyson's growl rumbled deeper, as though urging them forward before the decision made itself. Finally, Toya kicked off her heels, her bare feet slapping the floor. Down. I don't care if it's rats and mold. I'm not going out there with those things. Buck nodded. Basement. They descended into the dark. The air grew heavier, damp with the smell of mildew. The stairwell ended at a metal door half ajar, its hinges rusted. Buck pushed it open, revealing a storage area stacked with old props and crates of cables. Kim let out a shaky laugh. Great, if the zombies don't get us, tetanus will. Shut up, Wade muttered. They gathered in the center of the room. For the first time since the chaos began, silence surrounded them. No screams, no stampede. Just a muffled thump of music still playing upstairs, absurdly normal against what they'd seen. Toya leaned against Santana, trembling. What if this is everywhere, not just the theater? What if it's the whole city? Don't start, Santana said, though his hand shook as he stroked her hair. It spreads fast, Buck admitted. One bite, and it's like lighting dry grass. If it's outside these walls. He trailed off. Kim exhaled sharply. So that's it. We just sit here until something eats us. No. Buck's voice was firm. We get out. We find a safe spot. Supplies. Tyson can track if he has to. He knows when something's near. The dog looked up at him, eyes steady. Wade ran his hands over his face. My channel hit 2 million subs last week. I was supposed to be celebrating tonight. Now I'm wondering if I'll even see daylight again. Kim smirked faintly despite the fear. You hit 2 million because I edit your garbage. Don't act like it was solo. Guys, Buck cut in. We don't have time for this. The second they realize we're down here, it's over. As if on cue, a noise scraped against the door, metal against metal. A groan followed, guttural and wrong, vibrating through the room. Toya's breath hitched. They're here. The group froze. Tyson bristled, a growl building in his throat like thunder before a storm. Another scrape. Then the sound of fists saw something worse pounding against the metal. The door rattled. Buck looked at each of them. Options dot now. We fight, Santana said instantly, fists clenching. Fight with what? Kim snapped. A stage prop in Wade's ego. Toya grabbed Santana's sleeve again. We can't fight them. We'll die. We hide. Please, no hiding, Buck said. His eyes burned. We move. We get out before that door gives the power to get close waiting from the door frame. Then where? Wade demanded. Buck didn't answer. He was already pulling a rusted crowbar from a pile of props. His survival instincts had decided for him. The streamer awards had been about spotlight and spectacle. Now, in the dark basement, survival meant no audience, no stream dot, just blood and choices. And maybe, just maybe, none of them would make it to the encore. Into the streets. The basement door groaned violently, slammed again harder than before. The hinges screeched, ready to give Tyson, a brown pit bull, let out a sharp, urgent bark that bounced off the concrete walls. Buck tightened his grip on the crowbar. We're not waiting for it to open. Don't move. He led the group down a narrow service corridor. Dust and mold choked the air, scratching at their throats with every breath. At the end of the hallway, a rusted metal hatch blocked the way. The faded letters barely legible. Emergency exit. Street access. Kim reached it first, tugging on the handle. Locked. Buck shoved past her, wedging the crowbar into the latch. He twisted with all his strength. The metal screamed behind them. The basement door banged louder, and a gray clawed hand shot through the gap, blackened fingernails curling. Come on, Wade hissed, bouncing on the balls of his feet. With a final wrench, the hatch gave with a sharp crack. Buck kicked it open, letting in a rush of cold night air. Out, they spilled into the alley. Trash and gasoline hit them immediately. Tyson darted ahead, muscles low and tense, sniffing the air like a scout. Streets too quiet, Buck muttered. Santana pulled Toya close, eyes flicking to the rooftops. Quiet's good, he said. No, Buck said firmly. quiet means they've already fed. A scream cut the silence, high and abrupt from a block away. Their stomachs knotted. Kim swallowed hard. This is worse than any horror stream I've ever edited. Wade forced a brittle laugh. Congrats, you're officially in the director's cut now. Shut up, Santana muttered. They crept toward the main street. The full horror revealed itself around the corner. Cars blocked into sections, doors swinging on broken hinges. A bus leaned against a light pole, windows smeared with blood. Street lamps flickered, casting jagged shadows across bodies, some motionless, others twitching unnaturally. Toya covered her mouth. Oh my God! Tyson barked again, warning them. Across the street, 3 figures emerged. Their clothes hung in tatters, eyes reflecting the orange glow of the lamps. One tilted its head unnaturally, jaw slack. Stay low, Buck whispered, pulling them into the shadow of a delivery truck. Kim pressed against the metal, breathing fast. So, we sneak by. They'll smell us, Buck said. Fast, move quiet. Tyson leads, stay tight. And if they notice us, Wade whispered. Buck glanced at his crowbar, then at Santana. Then we don't stop swinging. They inched forward. Tyson led, belly low, ears sharp. It almost worked. They passed one car, then another. The figures across the street swayed but didn't react. Then Wade's foot struck a glass bottle. It rolled and clinked. Every figure froze, head snapping toward the noise. Run, Buck hissed. Chaos erupted. The 3 shrieked, sprinting in jerky, unnatural strides. Emerged from alleyways, behind cars, and inside the bus a dozen, maybe more. The group bolted. Tyson led, barking furiously, weaving through overturned vehicles. Buck stayed close, crowbar ready. Santana half-carried Toya, who stumbled over broken glass. Kim and Wade clung together, panic driving them forward. Buck spotted a convenience store with intact windows. There, he shoved Tyson inside, then smashed the glass door with the crowbar. Inside, rot mixed with sugar. Candy bars and chips lay crushed. A half-eaten corpse slumped behind the counter, face frozen in terror. Tyson sniffed the air, growling, moving toward the back. Buck followed, crowbar ready. In the back, Tyson stopped at a freezer door, growling. Buck opened it slowly. Inside crouched a man, eyes wide, clutching a bloodied bat. Don't move, the man hissed. Tyson growled louder. The man's eyes widened, but you're alive. Please don't leave me here. Buck's jaw tightened. Another mouse meant risk, but the pounding at the front grew louder. Get up, Buck ordered. You're coming with us if you want to survive. The man scrambled out. Name's Rico. Thought I was the last one. Not yet, Buck said. But if we don't move, we'll all be dead soon. The pounding intensified. Glass shattered. They weren't trapped in a basement anymore. They were trapped in a city where the dead owned the streets. No turning back. The front of the convenience store shook with pounding fists. Glass rattling as something tried to force its way in. Tyson growled low, hackles raised, his tail stiff like a warning spear. Buck jabbed the crowbar against the door, trying to hold it closed, while Santana clutched Toya tighter, her small frame trembling against his chest. Windows won't hold for long, Buck muttered. We need a... Kim peeked through a gap in the shattered glass, eyes wide. There's an alley behind the store. Give us cover. Good, Buck said, nodding. Tyson, stay close. The pit bull barked sharply, moving between Buck and the rest of the group like a guardian. Wade swallowed hard. We can make it. Buck's jaw tightened. We don't have a choice. They edged toward the back of the store. Trash cans and discarded crates offered minimal cover, but it was better than standing in the open. Tyson led, nose to the ground, sniffing every shadow. The air was heavy with smoke and something foul of burnt hair, eye and decay. Santana half-carried Toya, her bare feet scraping against the littered pavement. Almost there, he whispered. Kim's breathing was fast, shallow. How do we know the street's clear? Assume it's not, Buck said flatly. Quit, quiet. They slipped into the alley, pressed against the walls as if melting into the shadows. Tyson's low growl warned them again. Ahead, a cluster of figures shuffled slowly, their heads turned in unison, eyes glowing with an unnatural hunger. Hold, Buck hissed. Let them pass. Then we run minutes stretched. Every sound, the drip of water, the distant crash of debris, Tyson's soft padding, felt like a thunderclap. The figures drifted past, oblivious to the tiny group pressed against a brick. Now, Buck whispered. Tyson lunged forward, leading the charge. Buck swung the crowbar at the nearest figure, forcing it aside. Santana bolted, carrying Toya, while Kim and Wade followed, adrenaline sharpening their steps. They emerged onto a wider street. Fires burned along curbs, cars overturned, a lone streetlight flickering like a dying eye. The pit bull darted left and right, weaving through obstacles. barking at approaching shadows to keep them at bay. Go, Buck shouted. They sprinted, zigzagging through abandoned cars and debris. Gunfire crackled in the distance, cutting the night with sharp Somewhere, a siren wailed, then went silent. Toya stumbled, her foot catching on rubble. Santana barely caught her before she fell. Tyson barked furiously, lunging at a nearby figure that had been lurking behind a dumpster, its movements jerky and unnatural. Buck swung the crowbar, sending it sprawling. Keep moving. Kim grabbed Wade's arm. I don't think they stop. They don't, Buck said, voice grim. We just survived long enough to find somewhere safer. Up ahead, they spotted a partially collapsed parking garage. Buck pointed. That's our best shot. They darted across the street, diving into the shadows of the concrete structure. The pit bull led the way, growling low, scanning every corner. Fires from the street cast twisted shadows inside, but the relative darkness gave them cover. Inside, they caught their breath. Tyson sniffed the air, ears twitching, still alert. Buck leaned against a pillar, sweat and grime streaking his face. We're not safe, he said, voice tight, but we're not dead yet. Santana set Toya down gently, brushing blood and dirt from her arms. We'll make it, he whispered, though his eyes betrayed his fear. Kim sank to the floor, trembling. This city, it's lost. Wade glanced at the pit bull panting, and Tyson's not letting us go alone. The brown pit bull padded to the center of their group, tail low but tense, growling softly at every flicker of movement. Buck rested a hand on his head. Good boy, he said. We keep moving. No stopping, no turning back. Outside, the chaos continued. Screams, crashes, and the low guttural growls of the dead echoed through the streets. Inside the garage, they huddled together, knowing this temporary shelter was only a pause before the next wave. Tyson stayed alert, the unspoken promise clear. As long as he was here, they had a chance. If you want, I can rewrite Chapter 5 next, continuing the city escape and keeping Tyson as their fearless pit bull guide through the chaos. The streets are alive with terror, and survival isn't guaranteed. Buck, Santana, Kim, Wade, Toya, and Tyson must keep moving because in a city ruled by the dead, stopping means death. Stay with us for the next chapter. And remember, and after the streams, the nightmare is just beginning. This is Whispers Between Worlds, and we bring horror to your screen daily.